Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Jock and Jill podcast. This is your boy Guru from Cold Coffee TV, here with the one and only Joan Madden and Gridiron Goddess, repping She SBN. She SBN. She SBN. She SBN. How you feeling this morning, Joan?
Oh wow, you on one today. What kind of coffee were you drinking? I need a cup of that, honey. I'm just saying, like, them Monday night games be wearing me. First Sunday night games and then Monday night games too. I think we need to have them games like at the end of the week, like Thursday and Friday. Because nobody look at TV on Friday. Everybody going out to eating fish in the seafood restaurants. So we need to have the football games on Friday nights. The NFL football games on Friday nights it is. Because, honey, I'm too old for this, staying up late on Sundays and Mondays. But, other than that, yeah, everything is all copacetic. You know, football was on last night. It's all good, no doubt.
I feel you. As I kind of predicted previous, it's starting to be repetitive, me on these podcasts talking about how I felt about things prior, but, you know, the Vikings did exactly what I predicted they would do, dominated this game defensively, and Eli wasn't able to really muster up much offense, and he had an interception, no touchdowns, even though he has an elite receiving core. So that basically puts a stamp on the statements that I previously made, referencing the Minnesota Vikings being such an elite defense.
Well, I was kind of surprised and disappointed. Not in Minnesota's defense because of the caliber of players that they have, and with Mike Zimmer and his background at Cincinnati and stuff. So that part I wasn't surprised at. But I was surprised / disappointed in the Giants defense because, you know, this is a $200 million defensive line and defense. They also added secondary and linebackers that we're talking about here from free agency. And what was the pressure? I mean, like, you're familiar with Sam Bradford. He's played for the Eagles. He's played in that division not that long ago. So you're familiar with his nuances and stuff. And I just thought that having that familiarity would kind of be an advantage. You still have the same defensive coordinator that you had last year in Steve Spagnuolo, so he's familiar with Sam Bradford. Ben McAdoo, you were there last year, even though your offense and Sam Bradford was offense as well, but this is not like a brand new quarterback that you were preparing for. So I just was really kind of surprised, unpleasantly surprised at the lackadaisical defense that came from the Giants. I kind of thought they were going to match up with Minnesota's defense a little bit better. Especially with the way that Minnesota's been playing this season. It's kind of like, hey, you know, you got to step your game up going for defense of this caliber. But they didn't. I just can't really figure out all that money you spent. Vernon had a good game. I mean, the guy didn't take any plays off. He had a good game, but he didn't make up for all 11 players on defense. He definitely earned his check last night. But, yeah, just Giants have some work to do, especially with everybody else in that division. Look at Dallas. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and Philly's undefeated. Of course, they were on a bye. Redskins just coming off of winning as well on Sunday. So, yeah, Giants need to get together quick, fast, and in a hurry.
So we got a special show for y'all this morning. You know, we're opening up to something brand new. You know, because I don't like it unless it's brand new. 4 weeks in, we're going to talk about some of the studs and duds from the first 4 weeks. Joan, we're going to start with you. You know, who's been some of the least impressive quarterbacks? List 5 quarterbacks who've been the least impressive to you in the first 4 weeks.
Okay, well, unfortunately, because I was really rooting for this guy with him adding on Adam Gase as the head coach, Ryan Tannehill, I know he doesn't really have a banging receiving core. He doesn't have like a Calvin Johnson type receiver, never has. He doesn't have a Greg Olsen type tight end, and he's got a banged up, lots of wear and tear on his tires, barely any tread. Arian Foster as a running back, but still, I kind of thought that Adam Gase was going to come in and kind of pump him up a little bit more than he did, and he hasn't. So I'm extremely disappointed in Ryan Tannehill. Definitely Jay Cutler, but that's pretty much I haven't felt comfortable about Jay Cutler since his days in Denver with Brandon Marshall. And, of course, he's injured now. And Tyrod Taylor, I was kind of expecting a little bit more. I mean, I know he was injured a couple of games last season that they probably would have won if he had been playing. But I was just really expecting more from him. It's still about the same. Like, I haven't really seen any evolution from him in between last year coming off the injury into this year. Let's see, who else? Definitely Cam. I feel like they're picking on Cam Newton, though. I mean, he is still the league MVP, and I'm kind of like, you know, this guy's a marked man. I feel like he's kind of getting banged up on and picked on as a result, and they're not really calling the penalties that I think that they should. However, I still feel like Cam should be playing better than he is. And you got Kelvin Benjamin back this year. Hello. So I just kind of thought I was expecting a little bit more from the MVP. Despite the non-calls, I still am really waiting on that Superman Cam to show up. So him as well. And a fifth quarterback that I'm kind of disappointed in. I don't know. RG3, I guess, because he had a grand opening and a grand closing week 1. Like, there was a lot of expectations coming in for Cleveland this year with Hugh Jackson coming, and then, of course, RG3 coming. And I don't know, just RG3, like, dude, you still not sliding? Like, you playing. Like, you kind of hurt yourself. That was self-destructive. And you know better. You know you're supposed to slide. So we can't even blame, like, a linebacker or a safety on that. I mean, the dude just didn't slide, so he was free game. Right. So, yeah, definitely disappointed in RG3. So that will kind of round out my top 5 of most disappointing quarterbacks for the first quarter of the season.
In no particular order, I've got Marcus Mariota from the Tennessee Titans. I feel like this team is built in a manner that they should be winning games. He has a roster with a good running game. He has a roster with a solid defense. They're supposed to be doing a little bit better than what they're doing. Marcus Mariota was a quarterback in the runnings for Rookie of the Year, so he's been quite a disappointment thus far this season. And I think that, next on my list is Cam Newton, former MVP. I think that Cam Newton, expectations were high with Cam coming into this year, and I know that the defense hasn't quite played up to what they were supposed to play up to, but Cam Newton last season was putting up numbers, among the best quarterbacks in the league. He's not quite doing that this year. I think that that's something that's a problem that can be fixed, but thus far in the first 4 weeks he's definitely underwhelmed. My next choice on the list is Jameis Winston.
What?
I had high expectations for Jameis. I thought that he played very well last season as well as a rookie. I think that coming into this season, he's been making some mistakes, that, you would think in year 2 that the game would slow down for him. He's been throwing some interceptions. Now, mind you, he did just play Denver, who people have projected as the best defense in the league. But, it's not as if he's this subpar quarterback, playing against Denver. He's a quarterback that he has all the talent, to go out there against Denver and actually put up a decent showing. I think that he underachieved this week, and so far with the talent that's on Tampa's roster, I think that they're underachieving as a team. My next choice is Kirk Cousins. I think that Kirk Cousins is another quarterback who's in a position with a roster that they should be elite. They have Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, Jordan Reed, who before the season, people were saying Jordan Reed was on the level of Gronkowski. Some we were saying he's flat out better. I can make an argument that he is definitely, at the very least, on Gronkowski's level as a player. So, to me, there's really no excuse why Kirk Cousins' numbers has been underwhelming, other than the fact that, he's making mistakes. And like you like to say, Joan, most quarterbacks don't have those types of options to throw the ball to.
Right.
So, if you're going to tell me that, it's only the first 4 weeks and he's just trying to get warmed up, or any excuse you can come up with, it's definitely unacceptable at this point, considering he's playing with that type of talent.
Right. And the fact that he got $20 million with that franchise tag. Like, dude, you're still auditioning, so you might want to tighten up because your days are kind of short there. And honorable mention, I probably would go with Andrew Luck, because that's another guy that got paid in the offseason, and I'm still confused as to how he got that contract extension like he did, and he didn't even have perfect attendance last season. So yeah, congratulations to you, Andrew Luck. You are the MVP for that, but you are definitely not playing up to your expectation. And then the fact that you go out to London, you went all the way across the pond to get your tail beat by a division rival who hadn't won a game yet. And you didn't show up, so we can't even say like, oh well, Indy lost that game because of the defense. No, Andrew Luck was a big part of the reason why they lost. So I would definitely give him honorable mention on worst quarterbacks in the league so far for the first 4 weeks of the season.
Absolutely, I agree 100% on that. And as I previously stated, no one in the league seems to have more fourth quarter garbage points than Andrew Luck has the last few years. He had 21 points the other day against Jacksonville in the fourth quarter. And, that couple games back, where against the Lions, I didn't pay attention in week 3. But in week 2, when they played the Lions, that high-scoring game, I don't know if that was week 2 or week 1, but I will say this. That game against the Lions, there was 39-35, 21 or 28 points, something like that in the fourth quarter. Andrew Luck gets more garbage points, more garbage stats than any quarterback in the league.
And then you remember they played Denver too, and they ran back 2 pick sixes and so yeah, Andrew Luck. Would the real Andrew Luck please stand up with me? Remember now you're playing behind the likes of Peyton Manning, so that's a huge shadow to play behind, and of course you're going to keep hearing that pressure is going to come with that automatically, just due to the fact that you were who the torch was passed to. So, hey man, you got to live up to that a little bit better than what you're doing.
Absolutely. So coming up off of that topic, we're going to go straight into the teams who have underachieved thus far. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate. So my first team that's underachieved, I will say, is the Arizona Cardinals, without a shadow of a doubt. People have them projected as a Super Bowl contender. And to me, they are a pretender because that offense has not been consistent. Carson Palmer's looking like the Carson Palmer of old. I mean, he's throwing those interceptions. That's been one of the knocks against Carson Palmer for years, that he will throw some interceptions. He will turn that ball over. You get him under some pressure, he'll turn the ball over. And it's an unfortunate situation considering he's in a division with the Rams and the Seahawks. The Seahawks are definitely looking like a playoff team right now, and the Rams quietly 3-1 in the division. It doesn't look too good for Arizona. I mean, that's not a game they were supposed to lose to the Rams, considering they playing with Case Keenum. I would say this team is underachieved. They're saying that Floyd, the wide receiver, is slated to go move to the bench right now, and I'm not even sure if it's his fault that they're in this position, but I'll say this, that the Cardinals are definitely an underwhelming team at this point.
I'm definitely disappointed in the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I wasn't really expecting them to win the division or anything like that, but I wasn't expecting them to be 0-4 either. The Miami game was one that they definitely could have won. They definitely could have won against the Redskins this past weekend, and that was a controversial call there at the goal line too. I'm still confused, and they probably are too, with that turnover. Yeah, I just kind of expected, I didn't necessarily expect Cleveland to win the division, but I expect them to make some noise. I expected them to make things more competitive, more interesting, because Cleveland had been like the redheaded stepchild of the AFC North for years. I mean, Pittsburgh was always making noise, winning divisions, going to Super Bowls. Baltimore was always, they were winning divisions or being a wild card and knocking like New England out. And then Cincinnati, they've won the division the past 2 out of 3 years. So, again, I wasn't really expecting them to get up to that caliber yet, but the 0-4 record is really a head scratcher for me, especially with it being Hugh Jackson's first year. I just expected more. Cleveland Cavaliers just coming off of winning the NBA Finals. I kind of thought that momentum was going to go into it with it, but hey, Cleveland, I guess if all else fails, at least you still got LeBron.
Exactly. You got the number 1 pick coming. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but you got that coming. And my next biggest disappointment is the Carolina Panthers. I would say them sitting at 1-3 right now was definitely an unexpected outcome for a team that's just coming off of making it to the Super Bowl. The defense is giving up a lot of yards. A career best 300 yards this week to Julio Jones. That's just flat out embarrassing. I mean, he hasn't done that to no one else this season. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Julio Jones is elite. He's elite as they come. Some people got him number 1, some people got him in the top 5. Wherever you place him, he's elite. We already obviously can confirm that. But at the same time, you gave up 300 yards to the man. I mean, that's like everything was thrown his way, he caught it. That's embarrassing. So I think that the Carolina Panthers thus far have definitely been underwhelming, and I would say that Josh Norman is sitting somewhere saying that, it was all good just a week ago on Ice Cube stuff. Josh Norman today was asked about the situation, and he said that you get what you pay for. Now that's funny.
But here's the thing, though. I don't necessarily agree with that, because even though Julio Jones had 300 yards against Carolina, Josh, you've been torched by Julio quite a few times, A. And then, B, if you would have been there, so Julio wouldn't have had 300 yards, well, he had 170. I mean, so let's not act like you shut Julio down either, or like you were invincible, like you didn't ever get torched. Also, there's been some, you haven't been worth your $75 million in Washington either. So let's not go there, Josh Norman. You really haven't been that much of a shutdown corner in Washington either. You haven't really altered that defense like that. If anything, I'm actually going to give more credit to D'Angelo Hall getting hurt for Washington, because that made them faster. Borland's able to do some other things as well. So, and then they finally made the adjustment, of course, of putting Josh on the best receiver, which was smart. But again, still, I haven't seen you being able to have to cash your $75 million check either. So pump your brakes. So yeah, Josh, I don't know about that. Like I said, I mean, it might have been like 130 yard difference on that. And be clear, Josh, it wasn't even like Carolina didn't want to keep you. Like, they offered you $14.1 million. You wanted $16 million. Come on, still, we're really being that facetious about it. Like, you know, at least when you're wanting money like Revis and you're wanting money like Talib, I get why you wanted that money. But here's the one thing, what they could have, what they had as their argument and you didn't. They both have rings and you didn't. So you weren't there yet. You were still kind of auditioning as well because last year was a breakout year. And that kind of hit a nerve because I don't know what Josh, he kind of smelling and feeling himself on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was kind of shocked that he spoke about it, considering that, you know, every time something happens, you know, with anything, people want to rush and see what he thinks about it. But he definitely gave people what they asked for. You know, when they went and asked him, you know, on that podcast today, he said that you get what you pay for. So he definitely was taking shots at the Panthers corners and the Panthers front office.
Unbelievable.
My next biggest underwhelming team at this point in the season is the San Diego Chargers. I think that, yeah, I think that even with me being an Oakland Raiders fan, I would say that I look at talent and I understand talent. And if you look at the San Diego Chargers talent, you know, the defense has all of the talent to be a solid defense. And the offense had, you know, now mind you, they did take some serious hits on, you know, in terms of injuries. But, you know, they're still throwing up points. They're throwing up points. They've been throwing up points every week. You know, it didn't matter who they play. You know, Phillip Rivers putting points on the board. This defense can't seem to stop anything. So I would say that right now, and this is something no one's really talked about, but I think his name's Mike McCoy, the head coach. I would say he's probably on the hot seat at this point. You know, Wizenhunt's probably going to end up taking over that team soon. But and that's my bold prediction here. But the San Diego Chargers definitely have underwhelmed. They lost this game this week to the Saints at the end of the game, and you know, that was a really bad loss for them against a team who gives up, you know, everything. Anybody can get anything against this defense, so that's a bad loss.
I guess my expectations, I guess I can't agree with you about that San Diego thing because my expectations weren't even that high for them anyway. I mean, the fact they're playing the AFC West, I was actually at the beginning of the season before any snap got taken in the regular season, I picked your Oakland Raiders to win the division. I also picked Denver and Kansas City to follow close behind, but I did not have high expectations for San Diego anyway. So it's not surprising to me. I kind of look at them as like they have their own little island in the AFC West as far as for this year. Again, going back to my choices at the beginning of the year, I never considered San Diego division winner for this. I barely considered them a 500, 8-8 team in this division as well. I do love Ken Wisenhunt, of course, him being my former offensive coordinator, and of course he's coached in the league before. And I think you might be on to something where he gets another chance to be a head coach, even if it's in the interim form when McCoy gets fired, which could happen later on the season, especially if they don't get it together quick. But he's definitely on the hot seat. Seat's kind of lukewarm right now, but that temperature is definitely rising. The only thing that concerns me, though, with the Ken Wisenhunt thing is because he was the interim coach for Tennessee before, became the head coach, and got fired. You know? And he ended up getting fired from Arizona. So the thing is, like, it's not like people are just parting ways from him mutually or like he wanted to move on. He's kind of been booted out in all these situations. So he's kind of fragile as a coach. Of course, I want him to get another chance because I've always rooted for the guy, again, with him having helped us win the Super Bowl as our former offensive coordinator. And I felt bad when my boys beat him in the Super Bowl because he was the coach of Arizona. So if we would have lost to him, I wouldn't have been mad. I wouldn't have been tripping. But again, I don't even know if McCoy does get fired, if San Diego will hand him the keys. Like, I don't know, they might even look for somebody else, but I definitely agree with you. McCoy's on a hot seat. But I can't agree with you about being disappointed in San Diego because, again, I didn't have those type of expectations for him anyway.
I would say another very big disappointment thus far this season is the Tennessee Titans. Now, mind you, I do understand that you were never high on the head coach in the first place.
Nope.
But when I look at this roster, I mean, to me, DeMarco Murray, Derrick Henry, and then the defense, they have the formula to be a solid team. The formula is there. And obviously, if you look at, you know, the history of teams who won the Super Bowl, there's been more of them that's had a great running game and a solid defense than there's been with great quarterbacks. Even though people love to put these great quarterbacks up on a mantle, you know, the formula for winning in the NFL is a great running game and a great defense. And the Tennessee Titans have that formula. Marcus Mariota's in year 2. You know, he was in a Rookie of the Year running last season. He was supposed to grow a little bit this year. You know, he was supposed to step into year 2 and be a better quarterback. You know, they're underachieving right now because this guy is not playing up to a level that he's supposed to be playing at. The Tennessee Titans has all the talent to me to be a team that should be, you know, in control of this division. To me, the Houston Texans definitely are not that impressive.
Oh, and don't act like you up here talking about something. You disappointed Tennessee. Let's not forget how wrong you are so far too, because you picked Tennessee to win the division. You got a long way to go. Yes, let's not gloss over that either. Now I picked the Jacksonville Jaguars, of course, to win this division. And they're 1-3. But this is why I like Jacksonville a lot better. The fact that Jacksonville went to London and they beat Indy like they did, I think that was like a turnover of the new leaf. Also, they have a bye this week, so they're safe. So I definitely don't have to worry about that. But I really think, and this is something that could kind of transpose throughout the entire division, but I think the J.J. Watt thing, I think J.J. Watt being out for this season kind of opens that division back up too. But I told you, it's another thing I want to point out too, because, you know, when we made our picks last week, you said the Tennessee, your team that you high on for winning the AFC South, you said that they were going to win that game in Houston, and I told you that they weren't, but you didn't want to listen to me. But anyway, I'm not sold on Houston either, but I'm not sold on Tennessee again solely because of that coach. I just need you to understand that Tennessee's not going to get that far because of their coach. Like you said, personnel's awesome, but come on, man, the dude's last name is Malarkey. Part of his name is Murky. It don't get no more obvious than that. This is not the dude. I'm still riding with my Jacksonville pick, especially again because with J.J. Watt being hurt, that division's wide open, and Jacksonville already got the division win against Indy. I agree with you to a certain extent that Tennessee is disappointing, but again, because my expectations weren't that high on them anyway, I'm not surprised.
I ain't mad at you. Joan. I ain't mad at you. I'm just now. I will say this though. That, you know, you talk about my Tennessee boys like they just got smacked. I mean, that game came down to the end. 27-20 ain't no blowout. That ain't no disrespectful nothing to walk away from. Tennessee played in that game, but you're right. That game probably was lost on coaching. So, you know, that's probably the problem in Tennessee, and they're probably going to have to fix that because the quarterback definitely is underwhelming right now at this point. And, you know, I would say he's regressing. They're in trouble. All right, so moving on to another topic, we're going to talk about the early season MVPs. At this point, and I fully understand that we're only 4 games in. However, you know, we're just going to talk about, you know, who's hot and who's not. My early season pick for MVP is Matt Ryan. Thus far, he's put up a lot of numbers in the first 4 weeks, and in every game, Julio Jones hasn't even been the one that's been helping him put up the numbers. It's been other players. So, I mean, now, mind you, this Carolina game, this just was, you know, I mean, I'd say Julio made up for not doing nothing the other games but in this one game. Early in the season, Matt Ryan looks like the favorite, or one of the favorites for MVP this season. Who you got, Joan?
One of the favorites. I think he's just a clear-cut class. He's on an island to be the MVP. And I've never really given Matt Ryan credit because he's always been overrated to me. See how I build you up, but I tear you down. But I'm just going to keep it real. This is 9 years in the making, all right? Because I'm always comparing Matt Ryan to Michael Vick. And, of course, we all know what happened to Michael Vick. And I'm not saying that, like, we all know that Matt Ryan came to Atlanta as a result. Like, he got picked number 3 overall from Boston College that year as a result of the Mike Vick situation. We don't know what all Mike Vick could have finished doing in his career. But what I'm grading Matt Ryan on is solely, and I'm not even looking at numbers, like who threw more yards or whatever, plus they're 2 totally different quarterbacks. I mean, even to the point where Mike Vick's left-handed and Matt Ryan ain't. I mean, right. Totally different. But I'm looking at Super Bowls, and neither one of them have a Super Bowl. And both of them went to the NFC Championship game, and both of them lost. Right. So the fact that you have not surpassed Michael Vick yet, and you've been there 9 years, well, this is your 9th year, that's what I'm grading it on. And your best years that you had, Julio Jones has bailed you out consistently. And the other great year that you had, Tony Gonzalez, an old Tony Gonzalez, after being in Kansas City for umpteen years, was another reason why you were successful. But this year you have shown me that, you know, Roddy White ain't there. What was the other receiver they had? Douglas? Not Douglas. Harry Douglas. Yeah, Harry Douglas. Thank you. He ain't there. Tony Gonzalez is gone. I mean, Julio's still there. But to me, it doesn't look like Julio's bailing him out as much this year. It looks like Matt Ryan's accuracy and stuff has improved as well. Him as a leader has improved as well. I'm seeing better play calling on the field. I'm seeing more control. Again, more leadership, more accountability even on it, and less turnovers. So that's huge. So I would definitely say Matt Ryan. And again, this has been 9 years in the making. You've owed Atlanta this. So this is great. I was actually at the game Sunday when Carolina traveled to Atlanta. So, of course, because it was a away game, I was surrounded by Atlanta fans. And they actually agreed. They were just kind of like, we've been waiting on this for Matt Ryan. We've been wanting this. Like, where's this Matt Ryan been? I've even heard a couple of times. They were actually blown away because they thought that the first couple of weeks were flukes. So they weren't even like, I told you, Matt the man. They were really taking it in like a relief, like a sigh of relief. Like, where has this guy been? And also, Atlanta, this is only their second year with the new coach that they have. So all of that, like, this is really impressive. I honestly thought that, and I'm owning up to everything, I really didn't expect this from Atlanta nor Matt Ryan. I expected Atlanta to kind of plunge in the division even so, because I thought not like they sucked, but I just expect Tampa to do better. I expect Carolina to kind of pick up where they left off. I thought that even though New Orleans has issues on defense, I kind of thought, this is still Sean Payton and Drew Brees. But Atlanta, here we are, 3-1. 4 weeks into the season, they're 3-1. They beat Carolina, and I know the score only shows one possession, but what was it, 1 or 2 possessions? Yeah. I know the score shows that, but trust me, it was a brothel. Like, they destroyed Carolina, like, heart, mind, body, and soul. Especially seeing it and seeing the sideline, and of course everything with Cam. Carolina was definitely a team, a lifeless team after the way that they got beat. So don't let that score fool you. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely concur with you. To me, it's Matt Ryan and Matt Ryan only. Ain't nobody else even in contention for Julio, maybe, but Matt Ryan.
I definitely think that there's somebody in contention for it, and I will say this. I know it might sound quite a bit biased, but Derek Carr. Let's slow down. Derek Carr, same 3-1 record that the Falcons have. He's probably got just as many touchdown passes as Matt Ryan. The only game they've lost this season has been by 1 point to Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Now, mind you, and this is when the defense had some issues and everything like that. This Raiders team was 1 point. 1 point in maybe less than 5 minutes in one quarter from being 4-0.
But we could also say that y'all only beat New Orleans by 1 point too. So technically, you could be 2-2.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. But yeah, we closed the deal on New Orleans. We closed the deal on those, and we almost closed it on Atlanta.
But see, so on the flip side, New Orleans could say the same thing about y'all. Just like Sunday, they beat San Diego by 1 point, and they're like, we lost by 1 point to Oakland. So the same rule that you're trying to apply now with this, they could do the same thing.
The point I'm making is that Derek Carr has definitely played on the same level as Matt Ryan. That's the point I'm making. That you can't just write that man off. That man deserves some respect. He was a Pro Bowler. You said Matt Ryan hasn't achieved anything. He's been to the NFC championship. But Derek Carr's only been in the league 3 years, so you got to get that man time. He ain't had 9 years yet, and he's still playing on that level of this man who's been in the league 9 years. So that's the point I'm making.
Okay, so but in Derek Carr's 3 years, he has not been to the playoffs. No. He played in a Pro Bowl, so they're kind of equivalent. Because if I'm not mistaken, Matt Ryan's been to the playoffs like 4 years, so that's about the same on that. But who's had more turnovers? That's probably like people won't even look at yards necessarily. Who's had more turnovers?
Derek Carr hasn't even been sacked this year, and he has no interceptions.
Okay.
So, 0 interceptions. I don't know if Matt Ryan's thrown any, but Derek Carr has none.
And no fumbles either for him? Because, not being funny, I'm just asking because I really don't know. So that probably is what they'll... I didn't say has he been sacked. I'm talking about turnovers. Has he fumbled the ball?
You got to think, man. The man's jersey got to get dirty for him to fumble the ball.
Not necessarily, because he could get strip fumbled and still be on his feet.
But if
you know the tuck rule,
I know that. But a strip also counts as a sack in the NFL. So whenever there's a strip fumble, that's considered to be a sack forced fumble. No sacks, 0.
Well, I'm looking at it as because the thing is, even though they counted as a sack, it doesn't mean he got brought down. So it doesn't mean necessarily he'll get dirt on his jersey. When I'm thinking sack, I'm thinking a real life sack, not no lackadaisical sack.
No interceptions this year and no sack fumbles. And as a matter of fact, Terrell Suggs this week, listening to the commentary, Terrell Suggs and Elvis Dumerville praised Derek Carr this week. And this is coming from a defense who just lost. Mm-hmm. So, that tells me something. This is a team who was on the brink of being 4-0. Now, mind you, they really weren't on the brink of being 4-0 because in the fourth quarter, they threw that pass to Steve Smith. He broke about 5 tackles and took it to the house. And they were losing this game. This game was clear-cut and controlled by Oakland almost the whole game. But, in the fourth quarter, the Ravens made a few plays and got back into it. But at the same time, Terrell Suggs could not get to him. You know, they couldn't get the man's jersey dirty. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, that offensive line that the Raiders spent their money on has definitely been doing their job. And Derek Carr, with no turnovers thus far this season, has definitely been doing his job. Some people are still talking like the Raiders defense hasn't been playing well. I was listening to some commentators online. However, the last 2 games, the Raiders defense has played among the best in the league. You might want to, you know what I'm saying, pump the brakes on that talking about the Raiders defense. But back to what I'm trying to say, not talking to you, by the way. I'm talking about, you know, the people online who were disrespecting my boys' defense. But Derek Carr definitely is playing on an MVP level at this point in the season. All right, so the next topic that we're going to jump into, who's been the biggest surprise this year? Who you got, Joan?
The biggest surprise for me, I'm actually going to go with the team that I usually don't really praise or give credit to. And it ain't even, and a lot of times, honestly, I don't, because they don't deserve it. So for people who think I'm a hater, you're not gonna get much credit from me when you only won 2 playoff games in 20 years. So no, it's not hatred. This is facts only. So it's not gonna happen. Winning 2 playoff games in 20 years, you won't get praise from me. So stop with the thinking I'm hating. I hate it for you, and I hate your playoff record. That's what it is. But anyway, I will take a moment to praise the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, they're not undefeated. I could have gone with Philly because Philly's 3-0, but Philly beat Cleveland and Chicago, right? So, and both of these teams have a combined, 2-0. Cleveland hasn't won yet. Cleveland's 0-4, and Chicago's like 1-3. Yeah, so they're combined 1-7. So I really can't give that much credit to Philly yet. I mean, sure, it will come, but not all the way. They have beat one complete team, which was Pittsburgh. And I just think they caught them on a bad day. I mean, if they go best out of 5, I think Pittsburgh will win 3-2 definitely. Absolutely. But anyway, going back to Dallas, I will give Dallas a lot of credit. Before Tony Romo got hurt, before Dez Bryant got hurt, I actually was thinking that Dallas would probably be in contention for wild card. I was thinking the Giants would win the division, but I was really thinking that Dallas could do some things because their 4-12 campaign was very uncharacteristic last year, and of course it had everything to do with Tony Romo and Dez Bryant being injured for them to get that record. But because both of them were coming back healthy, I think Dallas also drafted well. I love the Ezekiel pick. A lot of people are like, oh, that's kind of high, but Dallas needed a running game. They really did, and I love that they went and got Alfred Morris as well. Sean Lee was coming back. So these are the reasons why I thought, okay, I'm a little sold on Dallas this year. But when Romo got hurt, and then they had to turn to the rookie who had a good preseason. But as we all know, preseason, regular season, and postseason are 3 different seasons. Like, they just are. And then Dez gets hurt. So it's just kind of like, okay, here we go again. They're going back to 4-12. But Dak has thrown over 100 passes. I'll just say over 100 passes because I really don't have the specifics on it. And he hasn't turned the ball over yet. Absolutely. No turnovers. That's impressive for a rookie. Like, really, with all the blitzes and all the kitchen sinks that people going to throw at you, and Dallas has played 4 games. I mean, he's been involved in definitely 3, maybe even all 4. I can't remember if Romo got hurt that first game or the second one. But he's been active. He did get, okay, so he's been active for 3.5 games. And the fact that, like, there's so much that Dak has done that has impressed me. People are coming to him for endorsements, and he's turning them down. He's like, nah, I gotta win games. I don't need those distractions right now. And to me, that's kind of like a married NFL player, and there's groupies in his face saying, let us in your room, come on, let us come on in your hotel. And you like, nah, bro, I don't need that right now. I'm focused on my wife. So to me, that's very impressive. For a rookie, somebody's giving him some good advice. And the fact that he gets there early and stays late, and he's working with Witten, and just his work ethic is just impressive for a rookie. Right. The fact that Dallas is winning, he's making really, really good decisions. And I even got concerned, like, okay, the first games that they won, like, they're not really even running the ball that effectively. Where's Witten? And he got them involved in San Francisco. Right. So I'm very, Ezekiel had a really good game, which I predicted, by the way, if you watched the fantasy video and if you heard me on the radio in Jacksonville, Florida. But anyway, I just want to toot my horn for real quick. But anyway, yeah, so I will give Dallas a lot of credit. Even though they're 3-1, they are on a 3-game winning streak without Romo. Emphasis on that. So yeah, shout outs to Dallas. I don't know how much longer it's gonna last. We all know Dallas starts strong, and then by week 17 when they're playing for the division, they lose and they home on the couch by January. Again, I don't want to, this is not hating, this is facts, like I'm not lying. So I want to give Dallas early premature credit, but let's see how it goes, because we all know your track record. But good luck to you for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can agree with you on that. You know, Dallas definitely has been a surprise so far this season. You know, with Dak has not turned the ball over, and they've won games. As a matter of fact, they won this game this week without Dez Bryant, so that's impressive. My surprise thus far of the season is the Jets. I think that, you know, the New York Jets quarterback play specifically, you know, Ryan Fitzpatrick, you know, he held out all that time to get that money. And, you know, last season, mind you, he threw up some huge numbers, you know, with Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker, and they got all his talent on the offense and defensive side of the ball. You know, so a lot of these games, you know, maybe they should probably be 3-1, and you know, instead we're talking about a 1-3 team. So now we're talking about a 1-3 team with all that talent on both sides of the ball. You know, Brandon Marshall's underwhelmed thus far, and I'm not even sure if it's his fault. Maybe it's the quarterback. I mean, this week against Seattle, he did have 90 yards and a touchdown, and that's, mind you, that's against Seattle's secondary, so that's impressive. But you know, the Jets being 1-3 right now at this point with all that talent on the roster, that's definitely underwhelming. That's an unexpected start for a team that talented. I would say that's my biggest surprise thus far. You know, mind you, they did play some good competition, but 1-3 still is a bit, you know, unexpected.
Yeah, I'm upset about that because the Jets were kind of the team of course, they finished 10-6 last year, and the only reason why they didn't get in the playoffs last year was self-inflicted because Buffalo beat them week 17. That's all they had to do was win, regardless of Pittsburgh winning. All the Jets had to do was win to get in, and that would have been great and a tremendous mark on first-year Coach Bowles at the time. Now, of course, he's in his second year, but that would have been a very impressive start and a great way for the Jets to kind of turn over that leaf with him. So yeah, 1-3. I didn't even realize. I was baffled that was their record at the moment. 1-3. I thought that they were 2-2, and then it kind of gets a little iffy for them because Tom Brady, of course, is coming back in that division off of suspension this week. I still kind of believe in them. The Patriots were brought back to earth this week. It was shown that they lost at home, and the Patriots actually have a pretty hectic schedule coming up. Finally, they've never really had that tough of a schedule because of the fact that they've dominated so much in their division and everybody else has been looking up to them, and they've had bad records. So that's kind of helped placate why their schedules have been very favorable over the past few years. But it gets a little interesting this year as the AFC East, I guess they can be called that for the moment, has tried to get a little bit more competitive, so we'll definitely see. And then the Jets, they've traveled to Pittsburgh this weekend. Of course the Steelers could lose. They're not susceptible to not lose. They're not like invincible, but that is a tough matchup for the Jets to be 1-3 going on the road and playing a team that demolished Kansas City like they did. And I don't know if Pittsburgh will revert back to that embarrassment that they had against the Eagles. I think that they're playing off of those fumes of how they got beat by Philly. All right, so that's going to round up our quarter segments. It's kind of like report cards. You know, you get report cards in school once every 9 weeks, like once every quarter. So yeah, the first quarter of the NFL season is complete. I'm kind of sad. It's going by pretty fast. We're already in October too.
Absolutely, it is going by very quickly.
Yeah, I don't like this. The NFL season slow down. I mean, it took you forever to get here, and yeah, just slow down just a little bit. You know why I think it's going so fast? Because once they started adding that Thursday night game in every single week, because you get games. We just finished the Monday night's game, and then we only get 2 days with no football, and then here comes Thursday. And then, of course, by the weekends always fly by anyway, so by the time Sunday comes, I used to like this Thursday night game like that. But now that it's every Thursday, it's kind of making this season go by a little too fast. I don't like it anymore. I don't know. I come commissioner, I might have to change it or write a letter to Roger Goodell now real quick. He'll probably throw it away or suspend me for writing that letter. Suspend me from going to games for writing that letter. But speaking of suspensions, and again, we're finished with the first quarter of the season. Just to reiterate, Tom Brady does return, and po Cleveland. They get the return of Tom Brady with no quarterback themselves and an 0-4 record. But again, Cleveland, you do have LeBron, so hold on to that. But good luck to you guys this week. and to everyone for the rest of the season. And we're very glad to be able to enjoy these games. So, Guru, do you have anything going on this upcoming week, or you want to tell people how they can get a hold of you, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look for us at Cold Coffee TV on Twitter. Like us at Cold Coffee TV on Facebook. Subscribe to us at Cold Coffee TV on YouTube. Shout out to Raider Nation. Run with us or run from us, baby. You know the motto.
No doubt. And this is your girl, Latasha Miles, a.k.a. Joan Madden, the Gridiron Goddess of SheSP and the Network. I can be reached at Facebook at Latasha Joan Madden Miles. Again, Latasha Joan Madden Miles on Facebook. At she_SPN on Twitter and IG. Again, at she_SPN on Twitter and IG. The YouTube channel is SheSP and the Network. And I have a book entitled When Football Season Turns You Into His Side Chick, The Ultimate Survival Guide for Relationships and Households During Football Season. Available right now on Amazon and CreateSpace.com.
The SheSPN. SheSPN. SheSPN.
I need a cup of that coffee that you drinking this morning. It's something special. We thank you guys so much for tuning in. And don't forget to show us all the love, all support, share, like, comment. Take a look at these postings that we're providing to you. Any services that you need. Me, I can write you a paper. My man Guru here, he can take care of your bar mitzvahs, weddings, photography, any type of beats and production that you need. He's the guy to hit up, and he already told you how to get in contact with him. So thanks again so much for tuning into the Jock and Jill podcast. We will catch you all again next time, and we're out.